In this episode, we're going to talk about smoke detectors. I think the only time that they probably get tested is when you're buying or selling a house. Inspectors are going to go in there and they're going to test them and make sure that the houses have them. Obviously, it's a safety issue, and it's very important that every house has a smoke detector. If you notice, I got all my smoke detectors, all of them here on the shelf. Something happened last night, and I'll tell you. But it is recommended. Did you know that it is recommended that you test your smoke detectors at least once a month? Once a month, you should be testing them. Yeah, bro, I don't think that's happening. I really don't think that's happening, but you should test them, every so often. The way to test them is normally they have a button. You hold on to the button, and then that's how you know that they are working. So something happened last night. So I'm also going to do a review on this particular smoke detector that I just purchased about 2 months ago. Obviously, when you hear a smoke detector go off, if they're wired, like mine are wired. Let me see if I don't know if I can show you. So some of them are wired, which means that they are interconnected. There's a wire that goes through the whole house, and they're connected to each other, so they communicate with each other. So when one goes off, all of them go off when one of them goes off. Obviously, what you do when you hear the smoke detector go off, first thing you need to do is check if there's fire, and if there is, then you get your family out safely, right? And if there's not a fire, then it's a false alarm. And if there's a false alarm, you have to shut them off. And that's what happened to me last night. Unfortunately, when these go off, false alarms, they go off at the worst times. It happened to me back in December. It went off and we weren't home. We were in Mexico on my brother-in-law's wedding. We were at Modesto's wedding and these suckers were going off. And my neighbor, in the morning, he's like, man, they've been going off all night, but I wasn't sure. He calls me and he's like, I'm sure if it was a real fire, the house would have burned down by now because they've been going off since the middle of the night. So I opened the house for him, through my app. I opened the house for him. He goes in, he checks my whole house. He was really nice. And he's like, yeah, there's no fire here. Thankfully, that's a good news. So my brother lives about 5 minutes away. My brother Shago, very handy. He comes in here. He finds out which one's the faulty smoke detector. And he takes it out, unplugs it, obviously, because it keeps going off and it's causing the rest of the house to go off. So he takes it out. My brother tells me, by the way, these need to be replaced every 10 years. The house is 15 years old. So all of these are 15 years old. So this one I bought about 2 months ago. These false alarms, they go off at the worst times. And it happened to us last night. We were sleeping and a false alarm, the alarm goes off. And I don't know if it's ever happened to you, alarm going off at midnight. Midnight, the alarm goes off. And the smoke detector alarm goes off, and it is loud. And you wake up, if it's ever happened to you, you wake up and you don't know what the heck is going on. So I wake up, and my initial thought was it's the alarm of the house. Someone's trying to break in. So the first thing I do is I grab my gun. The second thing I do, because you're not thinking straight, like things are happening really fast and the alarm's going off and the kids are about to wake up. So I thought it was the house alarm. I grab my gun and I don't know what to do. Should I grab my shoes? Should I go out with my flip-flops in case I do encounter someone? I'm going to fight someone with my flip-flops, all these things going through my head. So the second thing I do, I grab my phone and I look at my cameras to see if anyone's, broke in, to see if there's any motions. I check my cameras. There's nothing, thankfully. So I said, okay, maybe it's a false alarm from the alarm, my actual alarm, So I go to my alarm and I put my code, I shut off the alarm. But then the alarm is still going off. Dee, dee, dee. So I was like, okay, it's a smoke detector. By this time, my kids are coming out. My kids come out of each, and I have one son on one wing and another son on the other wing of the house. So both my kids come out and they're like, what's going on? What's going on? I said, obviously, I knew it was a smoke detector. I said, okay, it's a smoke detector. If there was a fire, we would have seen it by now. They would have seen it by now. We would have smelled it by now. So we knew it wasn't a fire. My brother told me I need to replace these old smoke detectors. That's what it is. It's one of the smoke detectors. So there I am. I'm go to the garage. I told the boys, go back to bed. I'll handle it. The alarm's going off. It's loud as hell. I go out to the garage, grab my ladder, and I start climbing up to each smoke detector. Press the button because it says press to hush. Press the button and they're not hushing. They keep going. So I turn it, disconnect them. So I'm going one by one, going up there on the ladder, one by one, disconnecting each smoke detector. And I'm thinking as soon as I disconnect the one that's faulty, it's going to stop, right? Because remember, they're communicating with each other. So as soon as I disconnect the faulty one, I thought it's going to stop. I disconnect one, I disconnect two, I disconnect the third one. On the third one, I fell on my ass. I almost broke my leg. True story. My ceilings are pretty high. So I fell down. I'm half asleep. I'm pissed off by now. Disconnect the fourth, disconnect the fifth. The alarm keeps going off. I disconnect all 9 of the old ones. And I still hear one. I disconnect all of them except for the brand new one because I'm thinking it's brand new. Why would it go off? I'm going to show you Julian's room. That's the one where the faulty one was at that my brother disconnected the first time back in December. All right, so this is Julian's room. That's where the smoke detector was right there. Originally, this was a faulty one back in December, right? So this kit one, the brand new one that I just got, this is the one that was going off right here. Pro tip. Next time you get a faulty alarm, a smoke detector alarm, and your smoke detectors are going off at the same time, the way to find out which one is the one that is going off, or the faulty one if it's a false alarm, is the one that is blinking red. I didn't know that. Don't blame me. Don't judge me. I'm half asleep. My leg is halfway broken. I'm going up and down. I'm going crazy by the sound of these really loud smoke detectors. I didn't think it was the one in Julian's room because this is the brand new one that I just bought. I walk in here and it's still going off. Why is this one going off? It was blinking red. And I'm like, crap, I should have checked which one was blinking red. Anyways, I go out there, I disconnect it, but this one, a brand new one, it was giving me false alarms. You want to know why it was giving me a false alarm? Here's my review on this Kidde smoke detector. By the way, if you Google Kidde, Kidde, smoke detectors, Google will tell you. It'll say people complain because a lot of false alarms. These smoke detectors have something called photoelectric sensors. So it kind of picks up images of fog or smoke and it automatically goes off thinking that it is smoke. It picked up the humidifier, the little fog. It went off thinking it was real smoke. And I was going around the house like crazy. So my review on this Kidde smoke detector, 1 star. 1 star. If you go to Home Depot, if you go to those sites, Amazon isn't at 4.5 stars. People are raving, oh, it's great, easy to install it. Then 99% of smoke detectors are easy to install. So, but if you see a lot of 4.5 stars there on Amazon and Home Depot, don't be fooled. That's my story. But what happened last night, so if you see me limping out there, you know exactly why. I guess the only positive side of all this is that I took the smoke detectors down. It'll make it easier for me to go buy the new ones and install them. But definitely will not be a Kidde smoke detector. For sure will not be one of these. But at least I have them all down and now I just got to put them back up. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.